You have won, Achilles. But tell me, does your heart feel lighter, or does the burden of war still weigh upon you? Achilles, standing over the ruins of Troy, gripping the blood-stained sword of Athena, felt the weight of fate pressing upon him. Paris was dead. The city had burned, and his vengeance for Patroclus was complete. Yet, there was no triumph in his heart, only a void as deep as the underworld itself. But the gods were not yet done with him. From the heights of Olympus, a prophecy had been cast. 3 trials shall test your soul. Triumph, and you will ascend beyond mortality. Fail, and you will vanish from the songs of men. And so, Achilles stepped beyond the battlefield of Troy and into the unknown, where battles were fought not just with the sword, but with the heart and soul. The prophecy from the Oracle of Delphi. High above the charred remains of Troy, Achilles stood in silence, the wind weaving through his golden locks, carrying the acrid scent of smoke and grief. Athena's sword rested in his grip, but his eyes wandered, lost in the hollow victory he had claimed. "I have done all," he murmured to the breeze. "So why does my heart weigh like stone?" The heavens answered with swirling clouds, a sign of divine eyes upon him. A brilliant flash split the air. Hermes, the swift-winged messenger, descended before him. "Achilles, son of Thetis," his voice resounded, warm yet commanding. "You stand as the mightiest warrior beneath this sky, but Olympus decrees your fate unfinished. To ascend as an immortal hero, you must conquer 3 divine trials." He presented an ancient scroll, etched with the Oracle of Delphi's words. "You shall rise as the 13th god if you triumph over the gods' 3 trials, proving yourself not merely a warrior, but a hero eternal." Unrolling the parchment, Achilles' blue eyes burned with resolve. He recalled Thetis' prophecy of a brief, glorious life. Now, a path to defy it lay before him. "I will undertake it," he declared, his voice unshakable. Hermes smiled faintly and vanished into the wind. Turning to his comrades, Odysseus, Diomedes, Ajax, who had endured countless trials at his side, Achilles spoke. "I depart Troy to fulfill this prophecy." Odysseus stepped closer, hand on his shoulder. "We will follow," he vowed, his gaze steady. But Achilles shook his head. "This road is mine alone," he said firmly. "You've bled enough for me. Return to Ithaca, to Argos, to those who await you." Despite their protests, his will stood firm. After a final embrace with Odysseus and blessings from Diomedes and Ajax, he turned from Troy, armed with Athena's sword and Hermes' speed, stepping into a journey cloaked in enigma. The first trial, descending to Hades to rescue Automedon. The prophecy's first call drew Achilles to the threshold of the living world, the gates of Hades, realm of the departed. His mission, to reclaim the soul of Automedon, his loyal charioteer who perished shielding him from a spear after Troy's fall. Though no famed hero, Automedon's sacrifice bound Achilles to him. "I owe him this," he resolved. "I will restore him to light." Entry to Hades demanded he face Cerberus, the monstrous 3-headed guardian. Its roar shook the earth, fangs gleaming, eyes like molten fire. Achilles wielded Athena's sword, its edge flashing in the gloom. Cerberus charged, claws rending stone, but Achilles, swift as wind, evaded each strike. He wove between its snapping jaws, striking with precision. Noticing the beast's central eyes as its vulnerability, he leaped, driving his blade into the middle head. Cerberus collapsed with an anguished howl, the path to the underworld laid bare. Entering Hades, a piercing cold gripped him. Lost souls drifted by, their whispers haunting. Crossing the Styx, he paid Charon's toll with a gold coin. Before Hades' ebony throne, beside mournful Persephone, Achilles stood. "You seek Automedon's soul," Hades intoned, voice like a cavern's echo. "Prove your worth." Hades directed him to Minos's labyrinth, a torment for the damned. Within, visions assailed him. Patroclus bleeding out, himself felled by Paris's arrow. Yet Achilles banished fear, clutching his resolve. He emerged, Automedon's trembling soul in tow. Kneeling before Hades, he presented his friend. "You've shown courage and loyalty," Hades conceded. "Take him to the light." Guiding Automedon out, sunlight bathed them. The charioteer wept in gratitude. "You died for me," Achilles said. "This is my debt." The first trial done, he felt a newfound strength of bonds unbroken. The second prophecy led Achilles to the Pelian Mountains, domain of Eryx, a fire serpent birthed by Hera's wrath. Its crimson scales shimmered, its breath a torrent of flame, a trial of valor. Hera, envious of Thetis and her son, had loosed Eryx to ravage villages from its cavern lair. Approaching, Achilles felt heat like a smith's forge. He entered the cave, sword aglow. Eryx reared, eyes blazing, unleashing a fiery blast. Achilles dodged, though flames seared his shoulder. Brute force wouldn't suffice. Studying the beast, he spotted a blind spot behind its head. With Hermes' speed, he feinted forward, drawing its fire, then dashed behind, striking true. Eryx thrashed, flames erupting, but Achilles mounted its back, plunging the blade deep. The serpent fell, its fire snuffed out. Breathing heavily, Achilles stood as Hera's voice cut through. "You've passed, but the last trial will break you." Silent, he gripped his sword tighter, steeling for the next test. The final trial brought Achilles to a coastal village cursed by Ares. Men battled ceaselessly, blood soaking the earth, driven mad until death claimed them. The villagers pleaded for salvation. To end the curse, Achilles knew he must face the war god. On a nearby hill, Ares emerged, armored in shadow, eyes aflame. "You challenge me?" he bellowed. Wordless, Achilles raised his sword. Their clash rent the ground. Ares' strikes thundered, but Achilles countered with speed and wisdom, cracking the god's armor. Ares lunged with his spear. Achilles parried, wounding the god's shoulder. Ares laughed darkly. "You cannot slay me." "I seek not your death," Achilles replied, "but the curse's end." He offered to bear it himself. Ares considered, then agreed. "A true hero," he said, lifting the curse. The villagers rejoiced, though Achilles knew the burden of endless strife now lived within him. Achilles has begun a journey unlike any before, stepping beyond war into the realm of gods and fate itself. Will he rise as an immortal legend, or will he be lost to time? The answers await in the next part of his Odyssey.